Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do beer review stuff here, and we have a penchant. Is that the word? Penchants? Penchant? Whatever. I'm not good at English or words, but what I can say is that a couple weeks ago, I picked up a beer from the brewery called Grey Monday, off the shelf, 2014. I reviewed it, and it was fantastic. When I picked that beer up, I thought I remembered there being same kind of stuff floating around, and that was what led to this. Well, Mocah Wednesday, up in its piece. I actually didn't even look at the date on this yet. It is a 2014, so it comes from someone's collection, because you can get these beers at retail back then, so basically my theory is confirmed. Someone had a collection or put it on a shelf. I went back there. They had several of these and several of Grey Monday, and I picked up another Grey Monday. I want to bring it to Beer Tube Palooza, and I bought this and the other one, and I paid a grand total for both of them, tax included, of 38 and change. That's insanity. So, while I work this wax off, let's talk about these beers. I mean, brewery, these bigger beers, these kind of hoarder beers is what I call them, because it usually had to be part of the hoarder society to get these. Were fantastic back in the day, and I'm learning that while there's a ton of adjuncts going on in these, with these in their high ABV, this one coming in at a paltry 19.2%. Jesus Christ. The other one's 18.5, so we're getting bigger. They hold up, man. Imperial Stout with coffee and cacao nibs, aged in bourbon barrels. Yeah, this exclusive version of Black Tuesday is brewed with TCHO cacao nibs and coffee beans from Portola Coffee Lab. I'm not going to read what's on the back. We're just going to crack into it and see what's what. It went in there. I'm going to have to do the ghetto bottle opener thing that I do from time to time. Because that works. So yeah, it wasn't a big hiss because the cap went flying everywhere, but we'll see what's what. Let's give it an aggressive pour. There's still some carbonation left in there, not a ton, as you can see. You know, there's carb left, but not hyper aggressive. You're not going to expect a huge carbed head beer on something that's pushing 20%, so I'm not kind of making fun of it. I'm just saying I'm impressed that there's still carbonation left. Label-wise, it's classic brewery stylings with their kind of cross pattern with their contains no alcohol and the whole kind of thing on the back and stuff. Anyway, I wish I had my little capper too. So there you go. That'll keep the air in. Anyway, so it actually looks quite nice. It's lively. It's not completely dead. It's dark as dark could be, but it's not a stout. Like they always talk about these beers, like this one and Grey Monday being a stout. They're more of like a barley wine, old ale kind of, a stout kind of blend. At least that's how they've come off to me in the past. So that's what this looks like. Let's get a nose. Man, the coffee in this is insane. You're talking about something that is, what is it, 6-8 years old at this point, and the coffee, at least on the nose, is super prominent. It has a little bit, maybe this is like preconceived notion of like a little bit of age to it, like a little stale coffee kind of thing, like the coffee was made a couple hours ago kind of thing going on, but it's robust, it's big and rich, and actually comes off way undersweetened than the Grey Monday. You're talking about 18 and change. You expect bursting at the same sweetness. You expect this just hyper aggressive, over the top. You can't even control it kind of sweetness. And you're not really getting that here. You're getting this kind of more aggressively roasty kind of stout. And this definitely comes off like stout because of that big coffee component. There's a big nutty characteristic to it. There's a big roasty component. Listen, my nostrils stinging a little bit, so you know you're huffing something of higher ABV. But it's rich and it's bold, and by far and away, that coffee, I'm blown away about how aggressive that is. Good God. Man, coffee out the wazoo. Sure, stout, chocolate, bourbon, the whole thing kind of comes into play when you smell it, but it really is that coffee kind of taking the cake here. Let's just dive in. Cheers, y'all. It's fucking delicious. It really is. For how old this is, with how many moving components this has. You know, the base beer, the bourbon, the hazelnuts, the whole nine. When you talk about this, you know, coffee beans and chocolate, cacao added to this. The weirdest part about this is that the chocolate portion of the show here is probably the least impactful. You know, you figured it's called Mocah Wednesday, and they're just going crazy chocolate. I'm not saying it's not there. It's definitely there. You get it. But all the other portions of the show are so bright. I might walk that back, actually, because as this is starting to sit in my tongue and kind of waft away, that chocolate's really coming out. It's delicious. It's really good. You absolutely 100% know you're drinking something of dangerous levels here. It's not hot in a traditional sense. Like, it's not like you drink it and it's burning. But every sip I take, I get a little bit warmer. A little bit more kind of like, okay, that's something. But as I let it sit and don't drink it, that chocolate, it's more like Nutella-like. And I think that's a combination of probably the base with tons of hazelnuts in combination with the chocolate here, the mocha portion of the show. It comes off very Nutella-like. It just, that's the thing that rises from the ashes. Very much kind of like Phoenix-like. And that, like, you take a sip. Coffee, yes. Bourbon, yes. Sweet, yes. Beer, yes. All those things kind of hit relatively aggressively. But if you don't take a sip for a bit, everything kind of washes away. And what is left behind is this super powdery, delicious kind of chocolate, hazelnutty kind of Nutella thing. 19 bucks. 19 American dollars. There's not much as far as like old school oxidation on this thing. There's a little dryness here. It might be a papery thing. I don't know. Listen, 20%, it's fine. It's going to be okay with that ABV level. Jesus Christ. This is delicious. This is better than the Grey Monday, actually. Initial sip, I thought, okay, this is tasty. Not going to be, I don't think it's knee-jerk when I took a sip. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be as good. But the more I drink this, the more I have, like, a sip. I'm like, it just has more layers to it. It has more kind of things that are kind of jumping up and more kind of talking points, more kind of just deliciousness to it. God damn. There's a reason why the breweries beers, they're like kind of like old school beers like this were like coveted. And this is why. And that's such a bizarre thing. I mean, I spoke about this in the Grey Monday reviews. Like, now they have like zero cachet. And like, this beer is like, sure, maybe it's a podunk place in the middle of nowhere that no one really gives a shit about and I have access to it. I don't know. But for me to be able to rip these off a shelf for, I think, like $10, maybe $15 less than what they were retail, and be this good, is this like kind of like I want to make mean faces and bug at it. Absolutely delicious. I mean, the coffee on the nose is much bigger than the taste. It's still prominent, but it's very, very aggressive on the nose. It doesn't follow through super hyper aggressive on the taste, but it adds something to it. The chocolate, like I said, doesn't really show on first taste, but once you take a sip and let it kind of waft away, that kind of Nutella-y chocolate thing kind of takes over, and it's very fantastic. Bourbon is unmistakable here. It's aggressive, as it should be, at 20%, and it's meaningful, but it doesn't like overpower the beer. And like I kind of talked about at the get, it's very much more a kind of like old ale stout kind of Belgian quaddy kind of hybrid, and that it kind of gives you a bunch of different kind of richness flavors that you wouldn't associate singularly with a stout, a barley wine, or an old ale. So age has done this zero issues, and it just comes off as absolutely fantastic. It's something I want to drink a ton of. At least I have some more left. Let's talk about it. It's one of the better barrel-aged beers I've had this late. Yes. Mount Rushmore status. Like I said, the value and availability on this is very, very... Your mileage may vary, but for me, epic. And, man, this is up there for me. With those beers that I mentioned in the other review, the VSOJs, those Kunins, those kind of beers, this does not take second place to those. There you go. Let's talk about it. Have you had this beer previously? Have you had this iteration, 2014? Have you had this version recently? Have you had aged brewery beers recently? Let's talk about it, because that's what I want to know. So there you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.